Well, welcome everyone. My name is JP Vionsek,
And I'm Mickey Kilmartin.
and this is the Midlife Muscle and Strength Podcast.
And today we're building a home gym with $1,000.
$1,000. Let's see how far it can go.
The price is right, baby. Now, I have a question before we even get started because I'm going to roll mine out first, like we planned. How close were you to hitting the $1,000 on the nose?
Right on $1,000.
Okay, mine's pretty much right on there too. I mean, barring I don't know, like maybe there's some taxes or something mixed in there, but based on what I saw online with the pictures and the numbers next to it, I'm pretty much right at a grand.
Yeah, I didn't factor in shipping or taxes. I just took the face value price, but it was very easy to go over.
Oh
It
yes.
was tough to stay under, but we'll see how we did.
Yeah. I basically the way so I'm gonna roll mine out just so everyone like just for the listeners. I'm gonna roll mine out first and talk about my choices and what I picked. I'll throw the prices with them. We're not going to include links or anything like that, but most of this stuff you can find online pretty easily, like Amazon and a few other places. I'll mention a few spots that I think are good places to look for reasonably priced things, and we'll kind of talk about our philosophy and reasoning behind different stuff. And we'll probably end up having some crossover and some deviations from each other that are different. But I think overall it'd be pretty interesting to kind of see what directions we went in. So I'm going to start. You ready?
I'm ready. What's the first? What's the first piece of equipment?
I got my Post-it here. So I'm going to start with dumbbells, actually. So when I started, I was like, all right, barbell and plates. Then I was like, oh, whoa, hold on. A barbell alone is going to be a couple $100. Then bumper plates are going to be $300-400. So my money's gone instantly. So I said, okay, how am I going to get some strength work done in my $1,000 home gym? Along with having a well-rounded program without burning it all on barbell stuff. So I went with dumbbells and kettlebells as like my main resistance, strength building stuff. So I bought a 100-pound dumbbell, a 70-pound dumbbell, and a 50-pound dumbbell. All of those on Walmart.com for about $285.
Nice.
Um, and then
the weight.
and then the kettlebell weights, I got a 35-pound kettlebell and a 50-pound kettlebell, also on Walmart.com. Great site to use, honestly, for dumbbells and kettlebells. Reasonably priced, decent quality, and you're not going to pay over the top. The kettlebells cost $90. So right there, I was through about a third of my budget, but I feel like I got a lot of bang for my buck with 5 pieces of equipment that are really versatile. I picked these for someone who is probably an experienced. I was building my gym for someone who has some experience lifting, experience in the gym, and can handle these types of weights. Obviously, if you were someone newer to working out, a novice lifter, you would probably want to go lighter, and that would save you some money. But I kind of tried to pick weights that were, a heavy one, a moderate, and then a lighter one for the dumbbells, and then a middle weight and a lower weight for the kettlebells. So that was my big start. That was like my 300 or a third of my budget. Other like resistance things for strength building. I bought a set of bands on Amazon. You want to talk about my kettlebells and dumbbell choice?
What's your rationale of not going with adjustable dumbbells?
Okay, so I don't mind adjustable dumbbells. In fact, I like them, but the ones I was looking at, I thought, I just think that I worry about durability. I've never had them, honestly, so I don't have experience with them. I have used them from time to time, but I don't know about the long-term durability of them and using them for lots of different things. If you had used them, that could be an option. But those can run pretty expensive if you get the adjustable ones. I don't know what one costs or if you got a set of them, but I've seen the prices be pretty high for like 85 pounds down to like whatever the lowest setting is on it. But I just questioned the durability of it, and I just worried about how long is this going to last me, and if this breaks on me, then I burnt all my money. I know a rubber coated dumbbell is going to last me a really long time as long as I treat it nice. Same thing with kettlebells. So that kind of was my rationale. So really, it was, I don't want to call it ignorance, but just experience. I've never used the adjustable ones on a regular basis, so I just don't have a trust factor with them.
Yeah,
Like having.
I have a little experience with the adjustable dumbbells. I think it's good variety, but it's interesting. Some movements just don't jive with adjustable dumbbells. Like a renegade row, you'll shatter them, like,
Hmm.
just slamming them down, and even like some other movements, just like dynamic movements, like a snatch or a clean, just like some adjustable dumbbells are just the ones, like if you have like a Bowflex one, it's just the same
Yeah.
size the whole way. If it's 50, obviously the weights add up to the same
Okay.
length. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
really awkward. So I could see why, like personally, I would just get a set of, 5 through 50 physical dumbbells,
Yeah.
rather than adjustable, like preference wise. But I think could be a good option also for
That's
base. Um,
that's a fair point too. And depending on what your goals are or the way you train, like myself, I would probably use my dumbbells in a way like, snatches from the ground or hang cleans or things that are going to be a little bit more dynamic and a little bit rough on them. So the adjustable, the ones I've tried to use, like you said, they just feel a little bit awkward or different compared to the rubber coated regular dumbbell. And like I said, if you break it, then you're kind of out of luck, and you're sunk, and you've already burnt your money up. So, but that's a valid point. Depending on what you're doing and who's using it, adjustables could be a good choice because then you actually get more options. Obviously, you can adjust up and down and weight the way you want to use it, for sure. So that's a good point, valid
and
point.
I love the kettlebell choice. I think that's so versatile. What was the weights you chose on the kettlebells again?
35 and 50. I didn't want to go super heavy because they can be expensive. But like the 35 I love for you can do like inverted presses, halos, Turkish get-ups. The 50 you could use for a lot of different kettlebell swings, kettlebell snatches, kettlebell cleans, for conditioning or just some like, different type of skill work and strength work, dynamic work. Um, I do love kettlebells. I'd say I use dumbbells more, but kettlebells are great to mix it up, in different ways, and they're pretty versatile on their own as well.
Yeah, I'd actually argue bang for your buck. I think a kettlebell might be the number one. Like if you could just have a set of kettlebells, you
Hmm.
could do a lot of damage with, because you could do a lot of the bodybuilding movements or strength movements with the kettlebells. It feels a little different doing a dumbbell bench with a kettlebell compared to a dumbbell, but
Yep.
yeah, I think that's a great choice. I like the weights you chose for the dumbbells, and then I enjoy the kettlebells as well. I think that's a good start to your list.
Yeah. So that was my big like initial investment when I had the epiphany of that a barbell was just not going to be the way to go because of the expense and space wise. Depending on what kind of space we're filling, which we really didn't say you had X amount of space. A barbell and bumpers require a lot of space. So these are pretty. You can fit them anywhere. You can throw them in a closet, and pull them out and use them wherever you need to if you had to. So that's the big, initial resistance stuff. Other weight or resistance things like strength building things. I bought a set of bands, and I found these on Amazon, and these are the ones that I buy myself. They're called Serious Steel, I believe is the company, and they have a set of thick bands all the way down to skinny bands. It's just one of each, but it's a good variety. It's for $120, which seems like a lot. But if you buy each of those types of bands individually, you're going to spend way more than $120. So if you get the package deal, I think that's a really good buy for $120. And it's good variety for things like banded good morning. You can add bands for resistance for all kinds of different things, for warm-ups, for activation exercises, scap work, lat pull downs. There's lots of different things you can use bands for, and add variety to your training. And they're super easy on space and very simple to use in a lot of different scenarios in different places.
Yeah, I think I use bands a ton in my training and also with my clients. So I would definitely, even clients I work with, remotely, I say the first thing to get is a set of bands. Just like body weight and band work, like you can do a lot of damage, especially like first couple of months, with just those two.
For sure. And again, I bought the set that has like the highest resistance because I was thinking for myself or a person in my similar experience level. But you could get probably for a little bit cheaper a package of bands that maybe like $100 with the lower level resistance based on your ability and what your needs are. So those were, now I was almost at about, $450, $500. I was burning through my cash pretty quick. And then the purchases start to get a little bit smaller for weight, and resistance training stuff, strength stuff. I bought a pull-up bar for $60. It's a stud pull-up bar that goes into the wall, has 500-pound weight capacity. So you could hang your bands on it, pull on it. You could do pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. And kind of tied to the pull-up bar, I bought a set of gymnastics rings because finding a dip setup that I liked would have cost too much. So I bought gymnastics rings for $40. So that was like $100 for like an upper body, body weight setup. You have your pull-ups and you have your dips, which the bands can tie into that really easily and help you do dips if you're working on your dips, help you on your pull-ups if you're working on your pull-ups. So that was $100 total for the pull-up bar and the
Yeah,
rings.
I love coupling the pull-up bar with the bands. There's so
Hmm.
many, accessory arm work, shoulder, triceps,
Oh
just
yeah.
like so many great things. And then I think the rings are great because it's not just the dips. You could do ring rows, face pulls, uh, so
Yep.
much variety. Even if, I don't have a ton of experience, I like the versatility of the TRX as well. It's a good option there. I don't know what that
Yep.
price is, but that's a lot of like great foot positions you can put your feet in, and doing some like elevated planks or just different movements there. Hamstring curls with
Yep.
the TRX. So you could do them with the rings as well. But I
Hmm.
think like having that versatility is be able to hang stuff from the rings or from the pull
Yeah.
up bar is great.
Yep. That's a great point. I never even thought of the TRX. Again, I don't have one for my, so it's more a lack of experience and ignorance on my part. I don't know what their cost is, but I'm sure, and this isn't a knock on TRX, but I'm sure there's knockoff brands out there. You could probably get them for cheaper. I don't know about the quality, but there's always another version, the generic version of whatever's out there. Yeah, so that was kind of my body weight stuff. Pull up bar. I talked about the rings. Another thing, resistance wise, I bought that ties into the pull up bar is a pulley system. So for like accessory work, like tricep push downs, lat pull downs, you can use it a lot of different ways. The company I use, and I have this in my own gym, is called Archon. It's Archon, and it's only $40. And it's just one pulley that attaches up on the top of the pull-up bar, and it has a setup that you can attach. You can like strap a kettlebell or dumbbells on the other side, and then you have your side that you're pulling and using. Um, it's very basic, very simple, and you might be able to like you could jerry rig one and make one from like Lowe's or something if you wanted to. But these ones are rated up to a couple 100 pounds, so it's trustworthy. You don't have to worry about it snapping or something on you, and it's only $40, and it's super 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 easy to set up. And I just like that for variety because you could use bands obviously for a lot of that accessory stuff, but adding in the pulley system, you can just add a little bit of variety, something different that you're not used to. Especially at your home gym, it's nice to have that little bit of a change of pace and machine workout when you might not always have that access if you're working out from home.
Yeah, I think that's a great different stimulus, like you said, compared to the bands. I like the bands for kind of you know trigger sessions in between workouts, like hard workouts, but I like kind of feeling the weight, with a pulley system, for your working sets, during your workouts.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I like about the pulley system, and I've read this in different places, is with bands, every time you do a set of tricep extensions or something, you're not always grabbing it in the same exact place, so it's harder to kind of track like how much resistance am I using. With the pulley system, you know exactly. Last week I did 45 pounds, and then the next week you can just add 5 pounds, and you can really be precise with it. Not that that's everything always tracking every single number, but if you're someone who likes to keep track of progress, or you're just new to working out and it's important for you to remember what you did last time, it's a little bit easier to do it that way rather than guessing. All right, I think my hands were 6 inches up this time, and then it's not really the same every session for
Yeah,
you.
I think that's smart.
So then there was a couple other things here, resistance, strength wise. This one was kind of what I thought as like my smart buy. I was like, yeah, I'm really thinking. I got a vest on Amazon, a weight vest,
Yep.
40-pound vest for $70. It's actually very similar to the one I have, but again, for someone like I said, maybe my level or someone who's experienced in the gym, a weight vest is super versatile. You could, you know, throw on a weight vest and turn that 100-pound dumbbell that you have, goblet squats, much more difficult than just with the dumbbell itself, right? So you can use that weight vest a lot of different ways. You can go on long hikes with a weight vest on and get a great workout on outside of your house. Mow your lawn with it on, like I like to do, which is one of my favorite things. So lots of things you can do with the weight vest to just make things harder. Not that, difficulty is everything, but if you're looking to sneak a workout in, in a busy life, weight vest is a great way to sneak stuff in that normally wouldn't be a workout, but you go out and rake the leaves with a weight vest on or shovel some snow with a weight vest on, changes everything.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to dial up the intensity.
All right, I'm going to try to wrap it up here to give you your time in the sun here. So here's my last couple. I bought a bench for $90 that's adjustable, so you could do some different things with it. I like adjustable bench for, doing prone rows, doing bench press incline or flat. You could also use it for different, like for stepping up, since you don't have a plyo box, because I didn't buy a plyo box. You could use it for step ups or jumping up onto. Lots of different things you can do with the bench. And then as your gym grows, you have that bench, so you can add, different things in with that bench, as needed and as you want to. And then my last big purchase, was a spin bike for $200. Nice. So that was like, I kind of was weighing my options. Like I could buy a lot of things with $200, or I could go this route. And I've just, over this last year or so, I've kind of come to understand that cardiovascular, training and health is super, super important. And the best way to do it, for long-term health, it's not going to beat you up terribly. Nothing against running or rowing or any of the others, but just biking is just something that is a lot easier on the body that you can do over and over again. And it's really not going to detract from other things. So I found a spin bike online for $200. It's probably not like it's not a Peloton, but it's good enough for you to have at home and use. And it's not gonna, you're not gonna beat it up. It's not a fan bike that might break on you. A spin bike's pretty reliable. So you could use that for easy sessions and also crank up the intensity and do some interval stuff and things like that if you want to, change it up.
Yeah, that's good variety there.
And there was a $5 jump rope. I had $5 left over. I threw a jump rope in there, which is always nice to have as well, for conditioning stuff.
Yeah, I love the jump rope. That's cheap and easy and great workout.
Yep. So that's my $1,000 home gym for kind of any space. Don't need a lot of space. Somebody who's probably experienced those weights would apply, but you could, change some of those things up. And that gym, I think, would work for a lot of people who are looking to do strength training, get your cardio, do body weight stuff and plyometrics, things like that. You could probably get all of that in there with those things in some variety or some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great start to a really quality gym.
All right, you gonna blow my mind now with your purchases?
No, we have a lot of similarities, maybe different directions. So kind of the idea I had was, if I was going to train a client who's coming into fitness at their house, what equipment would I tell them to purchase? So, and then also from experience, me and Krista have lived in many places, and I've always had like a gym in the basement, and then she'd have her stuff upstairs, like what she likes to use. So we'd always have like two separate gyms when we lived in Beverly. I had like downstairs with a rack, barbell, weights, and then upstairs she had like her stuff. So I kind of saw what she did, and then also like if you were setting up a gym at your house, like kind of this is the route I would go in. So I'll kind of organize it that way.
All right, let's hear it.
Very similar to, I started off with dumbbells, but I did adjustable dumbbells. Bowflex, they were $215 at Walmart. So these are the 52. They go to 52.5, I believe it is, which I think is a good weight. You can do, even if you are experienced, you could always, pre-fatigue with some push-ups and then do some bench press and still get like a good stimulus that way. But
totally.
For someone starting out, you could start with, 15-pound bench press, or, some accessory movements with 5 pounds for your shoulders. So I like just the variety of the adjustable for.
Now this was two, so you got two adjustable for $215.
Yep.
That's actually, for that variety, that's like a good deal actually for that many,
Yeah, yeah, and
weights.
I thought it was a good price for like that many. And even if the quality wasn't quite there, like if it lasts you to a year, like, and then you could be like, okay, I can jump up a little bit. I think it's a good starting point.
I was just gonna say, yeah, as a starter gym, that's kind of a premise we should have mentioned. Is like this is someone who's just starting a gym. This isn't, you had $1,000 to get a start, so
You
it's a good
you could
start
always
point.
upgrade it, and then coupled with that, with adjustable dumbbells is an adjustable bench. I think I found one that I've used before. Good quality is 120 on Amazon. I think it's a Flybird, um, and it's
Hmm.
incline and decline. So it's good for some core work, and then also just the variability of like the different positions for bench movements, kind of like we talked about before. But I think just those two, if you could only pick two things at a home gym to start out with, I think that's a great start. Plus all the body weight things you do, all the cardio you can do. So
Hmm.
that was kind of my beginning. So between those two, it's like that was $335. So you could start,
Yep.
a set of dumbbells. And if I was training someone, like that'd probably be the first thing I'd want to see them buy.
Hmm.
Just because adding a little weight, the variety of exercises you can use. I think you can program a lot with just a set of dumbbells and a bench.
So do you think this is not a side, tangent, but do you think bench is underrated? That people don't think of that as something that they would buy as a priority, but it's super
I
useful.
definitely think so. I think just all the positions you can hit. You can hit a flat bench incline, you can hit decline, you can hit different sets of inclines, so kind of working different sets of muscle groups. Um,
Hmm.
it's good variety. Even for step ups, you can use the bench for step ups. You can use it for bench dips.
Hmm.
Push ups, decline push ups. I think it's
Yeah,
great to have that's a
yeah,
good platform to start with.
yeah, yeah. I agree that the adjustable, like spending a little bit extra money for an adjustable bench is, I think, is better than just buying a flat bench, and saving, 20, $30. I think it's a good
Yeah,
purchase.
I was really happy with that one. We use it all the time. So then my next section of um, like equipment I got a power tower. So pull up and dip station and kind of like the leg lift or extension. And
Yep.
I use one in my gym now, just because not just the pull up bar. I like it for the dip aspect, and then I coupled that with bands, resistance bands. So kind of the same thought process as you had. I like the hanging the bands from overhead and doing some pull downs with them, or one arm pull downs, or anything for kind of working. Maybe you don't have a pull up yet, but you're kind of working your way up. You could do banded pull ups. I just like the space saving, and they could also hook bands up to it. Like I have my cross symmetry hooked up to it, so then you can kind of do some, you know, back of your shoulder, rear
Yep.
delt work with it.
How much was the power tower? Because I looked at some of those and I just thought I had outpriced myself. I was a little
I
bit
found
high.
one that looked pretty robust for $100 on Amazon. It's
That's
called
pretty good.
X Chief. I don't have any experience with it, but I think you could buy a little better quality one. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It looked like a middle of the road,
Decent enough.
and then
Yeah.
a set of bands was $20. So for $120, you could get in pretty cheap for some bodyweight calisthenics and some resistant bands. I just like
Hmm.
the variety of movements you can do on the power tower, coupled with the bands. You can hit a lot of different accessory work, so that'd be kind of a good place to start with, maybe for like a next phase of your home gym. Um, yes. So then the next, I had like a good chunk of money left, and I wanted to get a rack in the worst way, barbells, plates. Like that's what I would.
It's so tempting. It's so
But
tempting.
it didn't work out. But I still got a barbell for 160,
Okay.
and then I got a set of plates, iron plates for 365.
Woo! You savage. So you went with the cold steel.
Deal. So I'm like, okay, if you're a beginner, you're probably limited to maybe some deadlifts, bent over rows. You're not, maybe you get it up to your shoulders for some cleans. You're probably not going to get it to your back for some back squats. I just don't think it's that safe. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
what can I couple with? I just think it's so versatile. So I got a $20 landmine to do all the movements with a
Oh.
landmine. So I thought that was like, and you think about a landmine, you could do, squats with it. You could do lunges. You could do deadlifts. You could do I think just adding that little bit of weight and the variety of the landmine with the weights.
Yeah.
So those
Hmm.
three came out to 545. The barbell was 160, the plates 365, and the landmine was $20. Uh,
Yeah, landmines are super cheap. I don't know. I mean, anyone who has a home gym, honestly, if you're listening to this, just get a landmine. They're
yeah,
amazing. It's so
yeah, and
useful.
then I just had it with I don't know how your landmine is. Your landmine on your rig or is it freestanding?
Mine just goes in. I pop it into like two bumpers, and it sits
Yeah.
in the bumpers,
So
so it
I
can go
thought with the
wherever.
plates, maybe you're not using the 45s right away. That's kind of like your base. Put the landmine in there, and then you can kind of use the other plates. And then I think it's an easy upgrade to get a rack. Okay, save up a little money, get
Oh
a
yeah.
rack. So that's kind of the progression I would go with for your bang for your buck. But I think as soon as you can get a barbell and a rack and plates, I think that's like you're doing more damage that way. But I think the
Hmm.
dumbbells and power tower and some bands can get you there until you need them.
Yeah, I think I kind of love your. You kind of took the risk that I was afraid to take when you bought the barbell and the landmine because I had a little bit of that thought process. I was like, no, there's just not enough. But you were more, willing to take that risk because I mean, that landmine, it's incredible what you can do with a landmine, especially with you don't need a ton of weight to get a great workout in. You could do floor presses, rows, lunges, squats, RDLs, half kneeling presses. There's a million things you can do with a landmine. It's so versatile.
Yeah, it was funny. It took me a little while because I had like $20 left pretty much. Actually, I took out like a jump rope, some cardio stuff I took out, and I was like, what do I do with the barbell and plates? And then I thought about the landmine. I'm like, oh, that'd be a good way to kind of like get all those movements in. And then
Yeah.
it's pretty cheap to add like landmine attachments. Do you have any attachments for your landmine?
Yeah, so I have a Viking press. I use my V bar
Yep.
a lot. That I have for like my lat pull downs. I use that for like RDLs and like front squats and things like that, just to make it a little easier. Um, I've been looking at other things too, but don't tell Shannon because she keeps telling me if I buy more stuff the garage, I'll be in trouble. But there's a lot of really cool attachments you can use that are super
Hey,
useful as
that's
well.
just the business write-off, Dad Bod Chronicles.
That's right. Write it off, baby.
And then I didn't choose any cardio because, I think a jump rope's great, low budget thing. Um, I was gonna get a bike. Like I thought about a rower, but all the rowers I saw were too much.
Hmm.
Treadmills were too much. The bike was a great, like I like that option. But then I'm like, you could just go bike outside. Like just go
Yeah.
like if you have a bike or go for a walk or run, like
Yeah.
just get outside to do your cardio. So that's kind of
Yeah.
why I was like went away from it. I think a jump rope was
Yeah.
good. Some of the things I left off my list was like a big Bosu ball for like exercises like that,
Hmm.
core work. Um, you know,
Yeah.
you can do planks on them or circles or rollaways.
Yeah.
I like,
Yeah. I like
I like
Bosu
those.
balls.
And they're pretty cheap, but I just didn't have the budget for it for this. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like your thinking on the way, like even for like a newcomer to fitness, the stuff you bought is all very newcomer friendly. And like I love a rower, but they're really expensive. Number one, and if you're not don't have experience on a rower, it's very hard to use at first. It's better off to get one when you know how
yeah,
to use it. And it's not great to buy one and then learn on it because you might get too frustrated and then just never use the thing. That's why, like, I think a bike or just going for a run or biking outside is a good option. I agree
yeah.
with you on that.
Was there
Totally.
anything that you kept off your list when you really wanted?
Yeah, so I mean, I would have loved a barbell. I just, like I said, I basically was looking at it from like in my perspective, like okay, if I couldn't have a barbell, but I had to have other things, and if you look at the weights, like the actual weight poundage I bought, that's like what I would use. Those are the dumbbells I have in my gym. But I'd love a barbell. I'd love some bumpers and a rack. I mean, because there's just so many things you could do with it. Even like, you have a barbell and a rack, you can set up like a Nordic curls, because you don't have a GHD. But if you have a bench and a barbell, you can set up a back extension, jerry rig it, that type of stuff. So a rack, like a power rack with a pull-up bar and barbell and plates and stuff like that just adds a lot of diversity to your training. Um, I love specialty bars and stuff like that, but that's for down the road, because I love trap bars personally, and like a Swiss bar, football bar for like bench press and things like that. But that's like a conversation for another day. That would be like a pie in the sky gym, or as you build your gym out. And for longevity, I just think those types of things are probably safer for someone if you're going to be trying to work out forever throughout the rest of your life. There's certain things that I think are good investments for a home gym if you're going to have a home gym. That, like, I love a barbell, but I think as you age, a trap bar might be a better option or a safer option for things. And same thing with like a Swiss bar for like pressing stuff just for your shoulders, um, injury prevention,
Yeah.
etc. stuff. Um, but yeah, I love cardio equipment too. Like if I could add more cardio equipment, but I think if you're going to get one piece of cardio equipment you want in your house, some kind of bike, I think is the one you're going to want to go with if you're going to spend the money. Um, I won't get into brands and things like that, but if you live in the Northeast like I do, and 6 months of the year it's not ideal to get outside, having a bike I think is a great idea. So you can at least just jump on something and get a sweat in for 30, 45 minutes and not freeze to death. So, because running outside is not always a safe option if it's icy and stuff like that. You're asking
Yeah.
for an injury. So that's one thing I would say. Based on depending on where you live in Florida or down south like you can get outside almost all year round. Up here, it's a little bit trickier because the weather's not always
No, you
trustworthy.
just complain it's too hot outside, so you gotta do stuff inside.
That's true.
Um, yeah,
Um,
I think.
so here's my what, go ahead.
Just to close off, if I had to travel somewhere, like, if I was like, okay, I'm gonna go travel, and I don't know if I can get to a gym, and I can only bring something in the car, it'd probably be adjustable dumbbells and a bench. I think like that's kind of where it always started from. Even me
Yeah.
traveling over the last year, moving out of New England and going down south, like that's all I wanted was just dumbbells and a bench, and like didn't
Yeah.
matter where I went, what I was doing, like I could always get a good workout doing that.
It's like the castaway scenario. Like, what would you want? Yeah, I think I've done a lot of times where I've gone on a weekend trip or something, and I just throw like a heavy dumbbell and a heavy kettlebell in the back seat of my car, and you just take that and you go with it, and you can do a lot of things with some dumbbells and kettlebells. You don't need to. It doesn't need to be complicated, and I think something that people learned, hopefully, like from the whole pandemic thing and being lockdowns and stuff, and not being able to get in a gym is having some kind of home gym. I think is really important, or having something at least at home. Maybe you have a gym membership, but just having a couple small things at home that allow you to work out in a pinch if you have to is important. Just for everybody, just in general, you should always have access to fitness, or at least be able to make some fitness for yourself, no matter where you're at. And that's a conversation for another episode, but that's just my 2 cents on that one. All right, sir. So I think maybe when we post this, if people have questions about specific brands and things like that, if they want to send them our way, we can definitely answer those questions. You can hit us up on Instagram and things like that, and I'll probably post some things about types of brands and stuff that I have in my garage gym, and you probably will end up posting some things that you like to use in your garage gym, because not spending too much money on this stuff is always a good idea. Getting bang for your buck, so you don't go broke trying to get
Always
fit.
spend the most money on your fitness. Invest in yourself.
That's right. Health is wealth,
That's
baby.
it.
You know it.
We'll talk about my home gym. I spent probably like a couple $10,000 on it. So
Yeah, I don't want to say how much, because Shannon will be upset with me.
I want to add more. I need more space. Just
I did too. I think I'm going to add an addition to my garage just for
That's it.
more
That's it.
stuff.
Awesome, man.
All right,
All
sir.
right.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.